Hello, Tonya. It's Maria.
Hello. Hi, Maria. How are you?
Okay, how are you?
I am very well.
I'm just wondering if everyone else found the link.
That's what I was getting ready to ask. Was it hard to find?
Well, I originally went to last week's because that one had registered me for a whole bunch of them. And then it said that the host wasn't there yet. So I thought, well, that's a little unusual. So then I went to the email that you sent out today, and I noticed that it was a different number on there. So anyway, I just clicked on yours to join there, and so that's how I got in.
Okay. Because I just had someone text me, but hopefully, okay. Here they come. All right.
Okay.
Let's see here. Hi, Tammy. Hi, Cheryl.
Hi, Tonya.
Hi, Adriana. Wasn't too difficult to find me, was it?
No, will we use that? I guess we'll use that one going forward then every week, right?
We should, yes, because I talked to Michaela earlier today, and she said she wasn't going to switch it. She was just going to keep it as is. So hopefully that's what we will do.
Okay.
That is my hope is that nothing changes. So I hope everyone is having a great week. Um, I want to see if Nanette gets on. I got everything except for her voice. So while I'm waiting for her voice, for her to log on, I guess maybe I should make sure that Tammy, I don't know if you can, but I know I just sent Margie, I think, the link in the email. Let me log in real quick to our email and just make sure nobody. Oh, that was
Marilyn.
Marilyn. Yes. So I sent her the link. I do hope it was the right one. Hmm. I'm going to. Okay, I just copied it. I'm gonna before I share my screen, gonna go over and share it in the email real quick. Did everybody have a pretty good day?
A chilly one in BC.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I was saying that to someone today. I think in Texas, um, they're 105. I think they had a heat advisory. I don't know if anybody
Uh-huh.
on here is from Texas, but they had a heat advisory.
Well, we go in Celsius, and I'm not sure what 10 Celsius is, but it's not very warm for summertime weather.
All right. Just okay. I'm gonna just send this again to. I hope that this is our last night of having an issue on getting in.
Tonya, this is Cheryl. I see a screen, but not you.
Yeah, I'm attempting to send out an email to some of the people that may have got misdirected. So I didn't share the screen yet.
Okay.
Because Nanette is usually on with no problem. But because she's not on, I just want to send her, because she's who I'm supposed to be using tonight for class. So just want to make sure that they have the information. All right, so I've sent that out there. I have her up, but I wanted to get her current voice. But we will go ahead and start without her. And if she comes on, then we'll just make an adjustment from there. So I'm going to go ahead and share screen. A lot is going on. I hope everyone and everyone's family is well.
She just popped on, Tonya.
Oh, no, that did. Thank
Yep.
you. Great. All right.
I didn't get the email until went sent to my different email address. So
Okay. Okay. Yep. I just sent you another email. So before I share screen, Nanette, let me have you talk for me.
sure,
All right.
I will.
And if you're ready, you can go ahead and do your AEIOU and your name and whatever affirmation you would like to share.
Okay,
And
I'm ready here.
go.
Okay. AEIOU, my love lasts an eternity and reaches beyond the universe. I am Nanette Smink. I am perfection. I am healthy. I am happy.
Thank you. All right. And I will, in just a second, I will share screen. Do you have a positive energetic signature that you want me to add?
Sorry, what was that? I had to kick the dog out of the house.
Do you have a positive energetic signature that you want me to add?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I have great gratitude for all.
That's beautiful. All right. Now let's get that screen shared. Here we go. Okay, so we are in business. Thank you all for joining. Thank you, Nanette. I apologize. I wanted to use you on Tuesday and on today, but I failed to remind you to get me your voice and your information. But with your permission, I'm going to go ahead and run you on the other device as well.
Okay.
But here we are. And you know what? One thing that I have to say, I love it when we are using our devices. So let's first do a little run through and see what your scan is showing us. Um, the highs or the acute is minerals, Nogier, which we just went over, and your lows, aura, and today's stress, And that's it. I don't think you had anything else under 150, which is great. And I love what crystals were those that you had around your neck? May I ask? Was that
Uh, that's a moonstone,
okay?
and um, there's also garnet and sapphires in that.
Okay, okay. I did notice that in the photo, so I'm going to run your aura. And then we'll see what today's stress, and then we will jump right in. Ah, so we have somewhat of not really a rainbow, but we got a lot going on. We got some green, we got some red, some blue. We got kind of a grayish, so it's going to be very interesting to see how we can clean up the aura today. Let's just see what your nose year is showing. That's um, so really only nose year B. That's pretty good, you know. Just um, B is out of, and it's acute, not low. So you're doing really good. So let's see today's stress. We got bacteria. Okay, here we got quite a few under 150. So we have from connective tissue, lymphatic, emotional, fungus, infection, and immune. So um, we definitely want to balance those all out. And Nanette, I got your email with your new email address because I couldn't get you your panels because this is under a different email. So I'll make
Yes.
sure to get you those um, panels that would also be good to help balance that out.
Okay.
So we're not going to do anything yet with emotional, but I do recognize that that is low. Um, we can look at minerals. It's not really going to affect what we're doing today, but just to see what is going on. We got zinc, chromium, sodium, iron, and fluorine.
Yeah, my zinc and chromium and iron have been low lately.
Okay, so those have been low.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we will come back and address those after we do the age of conflict. So um, let's go right into the age of conflict. Is it okay, Nanette, that we have some new people on the call, give them just a little history?
Oh, of course, no problem.
Okay, so just a little history of um, how we came about to pick Nanette for this day, this age of conflict. In one of the earlier classes, we were discussing, and she let us know that she had lost her mother and father very
Yeah.
close together. Is that right?
Yes.
Your husband and your
Yeah.
younger sister,
Yes.
you were very close with.
Yeah. We're very close to my little sister. The little sister. Well, she's 10 years younger than me.
Okay.
So.
And if I'm correct, she lived in a somewhat of a rural area.
Yeah, she lived in an area where there's no cell service, and she was she went into anaphylactic shock. So by the time she got about 15 minutes down the road on her way to the hospital, she slumped over, and her husband had to do CPR on her for about an hour. And then a gentleman stopped by and said, "Do you need help?" He called the ambulance, and then it took a half an hour for the ambulance to get there, and so and she was already gone.
Okay. So we're going to do the age of conflict, and we're going to see where there may be emotions that are stored or blocked. Um, and it may go even further. That the age of conflict. Let's take a look at it before um, I run it, so that you'll see what's all in the age of conflict.
Okay.
So in here we have it broke down in 5-year increments, and then I also have the birth process, conception, um, 0 months to 1 year, womb, first trimester, second trimester, third trimester, conception, and then mother, father, and then our maternal grandparents and our paternal grandparents. And you can add to this. You can take it as deep as you choose. But I'm going to show you something that's really interesting with the genius, um, that is one of those bells and whistles that we have with the genius that is really good. So we've already added it to um, the scan. So once I went into the library, let me go back so you'll see that. Once I went to the library, and here in the bottom, it says add to client. So once you hit add to client, then you can select what panel or what library you would like to add. And I selected age of conflict and hit OK. And so it added that already to the session, to the main page. So it's already at the bottom where it says libraries. So when I tap on that, now we have the age of conflict. So I'm going to hit begin analysis, and we're going to run. All right. If you don't hear me that well, just remind me whenever I do the scan, it turns the volume down. But most of the time I can remember to increase it. So we see that it's, as number wise, it's in balance, but we know that even when things are in balance, there can still be things within that that would be out of balance. So the interesting thing, let's stay right here. What's good about this is, um, when we go in and look at it, we can see what's red and what's blue. Now, Nanette, one of the things that I will ask is, there's a different way that we want to process things that come up that you would say, yes, there was something that happened in that time period, versus you say, no, I don't recall anything. And I'll go into that a little deeper. So let's deal with the acute first. So we have from ages 5 to 10 in the womb, 15 to 20 years, and I don't think you're 65.
Not yet.
So we won't.
I got a few more years.
Yeah, we won't focus on that. So anything with those three first ones? Do you know much about your birth and your mother,
Well,
her pregnancy?
my mom's pregnant. Well, my mom and dad, they first moved to Canada about a year and a half before I was born from Holland. And so very little English. And I was her first child born in a hospital. And I can tell you, when I was born, the umbilical cord was wrapped around my neck, and I was clinically dead when I was born. And but I think, actually, I wrote a paper on this because of the fact that fear, where fear comes from. And I think my fear came from originally from my mother, because while she was trying to rip the curtains aside to see what was going down, and her language barrier of not being able to understand what they were saying, they kept pushing her back and closing the curtain until they revived me. So that's the only thing I can think of womb wise, because then I would have still been connected to her to a point.
Yes. And anything at that 5 to 10 or 15 to 20 years?
I was the biggest klutz. I have two brothers as well. Came from a family of five, right? So I was my mom's. That was the one that my mom always had to take to the hospital for stitches. So I don't know. I was just a very klutzy kid.
Okay. So we're going to drag those down.
15 to 20, probably awkward and shy.
Okay. Now, I noticed down here, womb third trimester, which you pretty much let us know that at that time,
Yeah.
fourth and first trimester. So I'm going to put all of that. And I don't know how many are very familiar with Bruce Lipton. I mentioned that on Tuesday. But in his biology of belief, he just really helps us to understand the impact of our parents' womb and what can happen and what can be um, passed to us, to the child during the womb, the conception, um, and the whole birth process. So for the cord to be wrapped around your neck, that wasn't just at the birth, could have happened sometime in that third trimester, because that's
Oh,
at
for
0.
definitely.
And then we have 40 to 45 years.
40 to 45 years, or
No,
45 to
45 to 50. I'm sorry, 45 to 50. The ages of
40.
45 to 50.
I was working hard during that time and barely being able to see my family, which made me sad.
Okay.
That's all, you know. And then, of course, then a few years later, they all started to pass away.
Okay. How old were you when you, um, do you recall when you lost your parents?
My dad and my mother-in-law both died in 2013. That was the beginning. And then my husband, my aunt, and my cousin in 2014, and my mom in 2015, and then my sister in 2018.
Okay.
So yeah, I would have been, how old was I? That's 6, 7 years ago. So yeah, I would have been 50 for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then mother is 141. Um, so we're going to drag that down. So I'm
Okay.
going to go with the genius. You can use this age of conflict um, really to do a lot. I mean, it has multiple levels. And I want to show you something that is very unique with the genius. So Nanette mentioned fear, and she mentioned her mother's fear, and she mentioned uh, just, the loss of several family members. So I'm going to go to organs, and we see lungs is high, and that's grief. And we see bladder and liver. Going to go check the meridians before we go any further. The meridians are all pretty good. So, but I'm going to grab kidney and lungs. Lungs is the highest one, even though it's only 622. Um, so now I'm going to hit the arrow over by where it says 13 items, 15 minutes. I'm going to hit that arrow so that we can go to the progressive insights. And I'm going to ask the device to prioritize everything.
Uh, Excuse me, Pam, Tonya, I hate to interrupt, but Pam is trying to get in and she can't get in on the call.
I already got in it.
Oh, did you? Good. All right.
Thank you.
Sorry.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Annette. Thank you, Pam. Glad you were able to get in. So we see the lungs came up pretty high. And again, that's dealing with grief. In the womb, the 5 to 10, the 10 to the 15 to 20, but the womb, the lungs, the womb third, and the kidney, the fear. Okay, so before we do anything, let's take the lungs, and I'm going to check mark on the left side, and I'm going to hit down the bottom the functional zone consideration. Now, I can't recall when I taught this, but all of the archive videos for the genius are on the wellnessspot.org, and we'll send that out to you so you'll know where you can find the archive genius videos. But when it comes to the functional zone is really good because it allows you to go deeper. It goes deep into the subconscious and it helps us to get to the root cause. So this is something you can use whenever, but to me, it's a very beneficial tool when you're doing the age of conflict. So we know there's grief, and now from Nanette's story, we know what could be stored or blocked either way in the womb, even in that third trimester. So we're going to take it one at a time. We're going to do the lung, the kidney, and then we'll see if we need to go in and do that womb third trimester. So this will help us go to the, again, to the deeper, to see where there could be something that's generational or something stored that Nanette is not even aware of. I'm looking for anything that is psychogenic. Psychogenic has to do with psychological issues, past emotional trauma, or things from our past that could be stored. And then there's the interference zone, which can deal with injury, C-section, trauma, cuts, anything that has to do in that way that can be an interference within our cellular cells on the cellular level, because that's what we're going for. We're going for energy, emotions stored or blocked on a cellular level. So let's check the functional. So I just checked it on the right side. If you're looking at the screen, I guess it's the left side. And geophysical zone. Geophysical is our environment. It could be our home. It could be people around us. It could be stress. It could be us, the land that we live on. It could be EMF. Microorganisms pretty much speak for themselves, which if you recall, we had bacteria, we had fungus, we had some other things. But geophysical is the only one that is 58. Now I can hit that and it's going to take it even a second layer and go deeper to, so geophysical, so it's saying electromagnetic stress and atmospheric stress.
I'll tell you, there's where my house is, I've got two towers that are not close by, but when I run a ruler on my iPad from on Google Maps, those two towers, basically the line goes right over top of my house. And I've even seen a difference in my garden because I don't see as many bees anymore, while other people have bees.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was the lungs that we looked at. And now we're going to look at the kidney. So because I added those items from the functional zone and from um, going deeper, I have to prioritize it again. But I want to specifically look at things that coincide with what you told us. So I'm going to check kidney and I'm going to hit the functional zone again. Psychogenic zone. So this is past emotional trauma. And let's see if there's anything low. The microorganism. So we are going to deal with that after we do the age of conflict. And then we got tissue regulation. So let's psychogenic is what we're going for because that's the whole purpose of this session is to find stored or blocked emotions, psychogenic stress, and miasm stress evaluation. So we're going to put both of those, drag those down to our main hold.
What's miasm stress?
One, let me turn the volume back up. Um, that one doesn't come up that often, so let me grab my manual. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to go back because I'm going to do analysis one more time. And then I want to grab the wound third trimester. Okay. So that has to do with a unpleasant or unhealthy smell or vapor. So I don't know if it was on this class or if it was in my wellness class, but I had someone that spoke of waking up and smelling cigarette smoke or
Oh, that was
waking up
Maria.
and, huh?
That was Maria.
Was
That's
that
me,
Maria?
Tonya. I smell
Yeah.
smoke, cigarette smoke all the time in my house.
Yes. Okay. So that can be a something that you can place to that having having that unpleasant smell and having a sense of despair or an
Well,
unpleasantness.
I'll tell you, today is being pretty crazy because when you said there's today's stress, there was a really large fire right across the lake from where I live at what they call a PRT nursery. And they're a nursery that grows small trees for tree planting in the forests, and they're all grown in styrofoam boxes. Well, that went on fire today, so I could smell the toxic fumes and the styrofoam burning. Even though the smoke was going in a different direction, I could still smell it in my yard.
Wow.
So that's pretty powerful.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
picking it up, right?
Yeah. And then we have here your interference zone, which again could be injury, trauma, cuts, anything. And I chuckled just a little bit because you said you were a clumsy. Is that what was that the word you used?
Oh, yeah, I was clumsy. I had stitches on my forehead, on the side of my face. I fell through I fell through a glass greenhouse probably about 3 or 4 times when I was about 3 or 4 or 5 years old
Hmm.
because I was always climbing it to get to the pigeon coop cage, and I didn't learn my lesson, I guess.
And see, so here we have, when we took that one a little further, we have foci field stress, which has to do with any type of infection um, within the body. So of course I'm going to grab that because, like I said, we're going to address that later. Um, so now I'm going to ask the device to reorganize everything. I feel like I need to look at the liver, and then we will run and um, do a balance. Okay, so let's take the
Okay.
liver, because the liver is such an important organ, and when you think about the loss of so many people, there could be frustration, there could be anger, um, a lot of things could be there. And psychogenic came up at 13, so of course I'm going to see take that one more step further and see what we get. Depressive tendency, stress evaluation. So those are somewhat self-explanatory. I'm going to take that interference on this section of the liver because, again, that deals with injury, trauma, any past cuts, anything, um, inherited interference stress. Now we're working in the liver. Okay.
Tonya, this is Cheryl.
Yes, ma'am.
A question on these functional zone. When you're clicking on a specific body part and then you're running that, is it testing these functional zones for that particular selection?
Yes. Yes. So if you notice, I don't select several. So let me prioritize this, Cheryl, and then we'll be back at the screen that I think I can explain it the best.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so let me turn the volume back up. So you notice this is where we prioritized everything. Okay. Now, I think it's important that you only select one item that you want to run the functional zone on there. If you are looking to get very detailed information, and for this session, that's the goal. That's the intent of this whole session, is to see where things could be stored or blocked, that we can release it and let it go. And so if you so here's the lungs, and like I said, we'll be on the left side as we're looking at our screen. I check mark the lungs, and then I hit functional zone. And so the functional zone is running the scan on just the lungs. And that's where it's giving me that deeper information, that subconscious scan and information to help me figure out, what could be stored there, what could be blocked there, how deep does it go. And like I said, if you weren't doing the age of conflict and you were just doing the functional zone with any scan, you can, whenever you put anything in the progressive insights, you can always go deeper. So you could do that with just running a general session, you can decide that you want to see what's holding that, what could be the additional information that you need.
Okay, so a question, lungs shows that it's a medium, I guess a medium rating, but because of all the loss, like you said, lungs are grief. Is that why you selected that, even though
Yes,
it doesn't show high?
well, it was higher. If you go back and the first time that I did the prioritizing, lungs were high. Lungs were high. Third trimester of the womb was high. Kidney was not high. I went and specifically went after kidney based on Nanette telling us that she felt fear from her mother's fear could have been transferred over. So each time I add something to this, to the main whole tray, I had to reprioritize everything. So when this last time that we added the last few things, this is the most recent prioritizing of everything that's in this area now.
So when would you press that play button, that red play button that's at the bottom?
So once I have everything in there and I'm ready to select what I want to balance with. Okay, so let's take a look at what all is now high priority. And again, if you recall, I was really in this process, I was looking to see if psychogenic showed up anywhere, if there was any past emotional trauma. And so after doing all of the legwork, as I can call it, I took the womb third trimester deeper. I took the liver deeper. I took the kidney deeper. I took the lungs deeper. The organs that I felt were important, I took all of those deeper, right? So this is what we get now as a priority. The psychogenic zone, 5 to 10, and 5 to 10 I think has always been up there high. So that 5 years time period has always been high. There's the womb third trimester, conception, foci, and so those are the high ones. Now, because I know that this all stemmed from grief, I would choose the lungs, and I would also choose the depressive tendency, and those would be the ones that I would balance. Okay? So I'm going to select all of those, and then I'll take questions, because then I want to go and I want to grab all right. So I'm going to apologize. I hit the wrong side. I was getting excited. So now you're hitting them on the right side of what you want to balance. So someone had asked me, I don't know if that was Pam or not, but someone had asked, you know, when you put a lot of things in your balance, I mean, in your main whole tray, how do you decide what you want to balance? And one of the nice things that with the Genius, right here with Progressive Insights, if you notice, we got quite a bit in here, but I know exactly which ones, and I'm going to hit, I'm glad I did that, hit inherited interference stress. Because again, that's trauma and injury. So I can pick exactly what I want to balance, and now I'm going to hit the play. Okay, so I'm gonna let that run for about 3 minutes and see what we're able to do. So any questions, that I know that was a lot in a little bit of time, but the main thing that I want you to see outside of the age of conflict is how you can go so deep, even in a general scan that you want to do with the Genius. You can go deeper with the functional zone, and then you can go even deeper.
Tonya, I don't understand when you click the items on the left and when you click the items on the right.
On the left, when the check mark turn, like let's look at right there where it says low. On the right hand side, I have it checked, right? So that checking that on the right hand side is made that one of the items that we're balancing when I hit play. If I check it on the left side, okay, where it says inherited interference stress, you see that box over there that's not checked? If I check that, then I hit functional zone considerations. And it's going to take it to the next step to go deeper into the subconscious and check.
Okay, so the items that you check on the left are when you want to dive deeper into the functional zone.
Yes.
And the items, when you click them from the right side, that's when you're wanting to scan them and run
No,
them?
not scan them. That's when you're putting, you're
Putting
selecting
energy.
that to be part of the balance that we're doing right now.
Okay.
Only
Thank
the
you.
things that are checked are being balanced. The other things are not being balanced.
Okay.
Does that,
Okay,
that,
what
that clear
about
that
when
up,
you,
Cheryl? I'm sorry, was that Maria or Marilyn? Marilyn, was that you?
yeah, I was just wondering, okay, when you did the functional zone testing, then you did another level testing, the third level. How did you do it? Did you just press that functional zone testing again?
You actually just press what comes up. And I'll show you that.
Okay.
Tonya, I have a question. So when you are linking the emotion to the organ, you are taking the Chinese medicine definition of that, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Tanya, the libraries, that's part of the new update?
No, I'm not sure that it's part of an update, but you know, the libraries, with our Infinity, those that have the Infinity, those are panels. Here, in this device, they're just called libraries.
Okay, because I don't see it and I'm having a problem with the update, so I didn't know if that was in there, the coronavirus protocol and all that. I didn't see how you get to that.
For you don't see your libraries?
No, under like there's the last section of body, and then hormones is the last thing. It doesn't say libraries underneath like yours did.
Okay, let me
We can work on it later.
okay.
Okay.
At the end, I will go through that one more time just to make
Okay.
sure that I understand the question also. So I'm going to stop that at 4 minutes. So that's pretty good. We balanced at 54. Anytime with the genius that you get over 50, that's a good balance session. Okay. But if you notice something, when we looked at Nanette, her first scan, I think we only had the one thing though. So let me go back. Now I'm going to go back because what I want to look at, we had aura and today's stress, which that's pretty amazing. Okay. So balancing at 54 is really good. So again, I don't want to confuse anyone. So if you have questions, please go ahead and stop me.
Doesn't it show nausea here? Did we balance with that?
No, nausea is red, so it's acute.
Yeah.
So if you know, for me, I'm not really focused on that because this session, I was really focused on going in seeing what came up on the Age of Conflict library, and then going deeper in the functional. And again, I was looking for to see if psychogenic came up. That was the most important one that I wanted to see if that showed up in anything that came high. And it did.
So can I understand it this way that in the age of conflict, whatever shows up there is not, you're not considering that as acute, you're considering it as, something that's chronic?
Within the age of conflict?
Yeah.
No. Let me go back there so that I answer that in case anyone else. So when I look at the age of conflict, it's all individually based on what the person tells me. I'm looking for known versus unknown.
Okay.
So whether it's red or blue, I want to know, is it known or unknown?
Okay.
And when Nanette spoke to us, wound, and then third trimester, those are known. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
Because of the cord being wrapped around. So that let me know that anything that happened during the pregnancy, she identified that. Then she identified her mother's fear, and because of the language barrier, her mother, so you see her mother is at 141. And she said she kept grabbing the curtain and they kept pushing her down. They didn't want her to see. So anything that is known, conception, all of that, I'm definitely going to drag.
So what happens when they don't know, like they have not been told by their mother or anything, what was going on during? Because I see a lot of people like that who have no idea what was going on.
That's okay. It's unknown.
Yeah, okay.
It's still stored, even though they don't know it. Something is stored there.
Okay.
And but what is very important is the known.
Okay.
And if you see 45 to 50 and 50 to 55, 50 is when I believe is when she lost her parents.
That's really low, actually.
Right. So that's what we want to work more than anything.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So now what I want to do, so we put everything, what's great about the Genius is you can put it all in the main whole tray, because you see I got 25 items in there, but when I go to the Progressive Insights, I can choose what I want to balance. I don't have to just balance all 25, which that's not what I wanted to do tonight. I wanted to specifically pick where I know. Let me, I think that was Pam that,
yeah.
I think that was you that asked about the emotions based on the organs.
Yeah, yes.
So I have the book called The Body Heals Itself.
Yes.
You know that book?
I know that book, but you were going to send us something, you said you're going to send us some PDF or something of that, how they are connected. But if I can always go and buy the book.
Well, I'm going to send page 127. I'm going to send that out to you. And let me just run through it real quick. So the organ, let me just run through this real quick. Give me a second.
Okay.
So for lungs is sadness. The balance is inspiration. For kidney is fear or shame. The balanced side is gentleness. And I chose something else. Liver. For liver is anger, rage, and the balanced side is acceptance. So in this book, it gives you the out of balance and the balanced side. So just that page I'm going to send to you.
Okay, Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
So you can
I
see
have,
why you would
sorry.
want to pick that organ. And that's why I went to those organs, because she mentioned fear. So we picked kidney, and liver came, which again, liver is where we can have unforgiveness, anger, frustration, and all of those things. Okay. So now what I
Okay.
did not do
Okay.
was, now I want to go, I love the Bach flowers. So now I want to go over and I want to check her Bach flower. So even though it's balanced, we know within it there is
Mhm,
Bach flower that came up.
mhm. There is a question that I wanted to ask you. So
Go
when
ahead.
it the different ages, it says 80 to 85 or something like that,
But
right?
she's not that old. So
I know, but I have, and the reason I'm asking you is that maybe it'll be interesting to notice as you change other things, how that number would change. Because what I've done in my treatments there is that in some cases, how it'll affect their future life.
true, true. And you can look at that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
that number, after we do this, that number should get better. Actually, that's what I'm thinking.
Yes, ma'am. You are right.
Yes, maybe we should
Funny thing
notice that
is
just for the heck of it. Yeah, yeah. Sorry.
funny thing is that the 80 to 82, that's between the ages of when my parents both passed away as well.
Yes. And that's what I was getting ready to say, that it may, if you think about, remember I read that about energy is everywhere and energy is everything. So we have things stored that are not our energy.
Yeah.
It could be others' energy, our parents, and that's a
Be
huge thing.
ancestral, it could be genetically just in our genes, right?
Yes, yes, and again, if you read that Biology of Belief with Bruce Lipton, or watch any of his, he has several YouTube videos. He really helps to understand epigenetics and how all of that plays into, and especially today, let me just say that, especially today, with being very closed in, children can be affected, and not just children, everyone in the home is affected by everyone in the home's energy, um, and frequency and everything. So sometimes you're carrying something that's not yours, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So let me just read the blue, just for sake of time. Let me just read the blue um, Bach flower, and let's see if those resonate. Hornbeam is weary, exhausted, needs strength, doubts her own ability, overstressed, and crabapple. Poor self-image, um, cleansing, sense of not being clean. It's the remedy for wounds. Um, and then the last one is rock rose. Let me just read that one. That one's low.
Hornbeam less low too.
The
Hornbeam.
Yes, I think I read that one, didn't I?
Oh,
That
sorry.
Yes.
Maybe I missed it. Maybe I
Yeah,
missed it.
that was the first one. And then this one is the remedy for emergency, for cases where there even appears no hope, sudden illness, um, a time of accident, frightened, terrified, um, fear. You simply freeze and just cannot move. So, what I would do is I like to use Bach flower because they're very gentle. So I'm grabbing all the ones that are low. Now, when I go back over to the progressive insights, because I added those, it's going to prioritize everything again. So that's, Cheryl, I think you had asked me that. So every time you add something to the progressive insights, it now reprioritizes everything within that. But again, you can always go in and choose what you want to balance with. So I was happy with where we balanced. So now I'm going to select what I choose to balance with. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Because you know, I can follow the device, or I can do what I know I want to balance with, if that makes sense to everybody. And now I want to choose what I think was most important along with the Bach flowers.
Tonya, it's interesting that after you added the Bach flowers, the lungs went from medium up to high.
Yes.
What would
Yes.
cause that?
It says
Again,
low though.
it's just how things balance within the with everything that's in it. If you know, like if you only put 3 things, then that's the only 3 things that it's going to balance again. And what if you put 15 things, now that changes what could be the priority. Because now it's going to balance according to all 15 things, not just the first 3. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's the advantage you have. But again, the great thing is that you still get to select what you choose. You get to kind of be in the control seat, and it's very easy to pick what you want and then balance it how you choose. So, and very easy to navigate on how you want to select um, what you choose. I hope I didn't confuse you. But again, when you're doing an age of conflict or doing a specific session, say you have say I knew Nanette at that time, I would probably do a session just focused on supporting her in that process of grief. Now, one other thing that I did not do was go look at the emotions. But I would go and just process. I mean, I would know exactly what I'm working on, so I will select the exact things that I know is going to help. Does that make sense to everybody? Because sometimes you let the device do it, and that's okay. You can let the device do it, and you can simply follow what the device gives you. But then sometimes, as you get more skilled, you'll want to go and specifically look for certain things and pick those things.
Tonya, is the Age of Conflict panel available?
Yes, it's very, very good because we all know that emotions are key for us, stored or blocked.
So how that panel?
You can email us at the Q Quantum Biofeedback email. I'm I think we may have put some information in an email um, that went out, but I'm not 100% sure. But I'll make sure you get some information on it. And if those that were on the call Tuesday and those on the call today, um, I'm pretty sure Nanette, and you can answer, please. But in starting this process, we knew what we were going for,
Yeah.
but as you saw, that womb was key. I don't think you thought that was going to come out today, or that was going to be brought up to your awareness.
Oh, no, not at all. I figured kidney, lung for sure.
And can I take that even a step further? That just so in your telling us that story, you said that the um, cord was wrapped around that you were blue.
Yes.
Okay. And you said you said some specific language. Um, I can't remember the exact words, but
Oh, that I was, how did I put it again? Um, oh gosh. When you're doing the sessions on me, it makes me so zoned out. Like the other one too, I'm like, I'm getting sleepy. And at both times, like even this one, I'm going, I'm getting sleepy. I just want to curl up
yeah,
and go to sleep.
that's
Um,
good. That's good. That's what we want you
yeah,
to
it
do.
is. It is good. It's so powerful. It just amazes me because I'm so far away, and how it's still it affects you so quickly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I was born with the cord around me, so I was born, I say dead on at birth. I can't remember exactly what the words were anymore.
Yes, but I didn't want to put words in your mouth. But when you said
Yeah.
that, and what we were processing was the death of so many family members.
Yeah.
So that energy from that experience of a birth, you know, very much impacts every part of your life.
It does.
And so,
It
you know,
does.
the
And
best way I can describe it to everybody is I always use that helium balloon. So that balloon is tied to several different areas, and we might untie the first spot and think the balloon is, or the emotion, or the whatever we have trapped is going to fly away. But then we realize it's stored, it's tied someplace else, it's tied someplace else, it's tied someplace else, it's tied someplace else. But tonight we got right to the core. When she was born, death was an emotion, and fear and emotion that as a baby. So if we're going to be able to release the emotions and the whatever is stored or blocked from um, her parents, her sister, we got to go all the way back to when it was first stored or blocked within her cells, and it was at birth. That's the initial time that fear and death was stored in her body.
and it's funny all the over the years how often I've had problems with my kidneys. So, and it was all during times of fear as well.
Mm-hmm. So I will stop that. So
Okay.
I want to go back, and just for sake of the class, we're just going to see what emotions are strong. There's sadness, the emotion that we just read for lungs. So again, what I would do is I would grab these emotions, um, and I think rage was one for the liver. And I'm going to make sure you get this chart of out of balance and balance. But I would grab those emotions and put them in the main hold tray and then balance everything.
Tonya, is the genius like the infinity that if it's above 650, it's acute and below 150, it's chronic?
Yes.
Okay.
So let's just check in and see. And this is a very deep one, but again, based on that conversation that we had that night, is why I brought this forward. But this is a very, 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 very deep one. Wow. See, but we now got a lot of heart, and on that left side, that feminine side, we got a little hue of red. But to be honest, I'm not done yet because I want to grab those emotions in there and finish it out. But you see how we were able to really impact and pick that. So I want Lynette to get some good sleep tonight. I'm going to grab that because it's so low. Okay, so then I'll go over and reprioritize that and just run one more session. Now you see I didn't get 50. So I'm going to grab what I just put in there and what we had in there. And I'm going to let that run for a little bit. I want to grab my my Bach because, you know, that's what I want to be the frequency that makes the big change. So I hope I'm not confusing anyone.
No, in past sessions with people that I've done sessions on, I like using Bach too. It's, I don't know, I have the most progress with it.
I do too. I tell you, it for me, it is just really good for helping to release. So any questions? You will get a panel. You won't get the age of conflict, but you will get a free panel. You're going to get the chart that goes over what organs have what emotion stored there when it's out of balance and what emotion is there when it's in balance.
Tonya, I just want to ask something. Is this Age of Conflict, this panel, does it come with instructions or a booklet or something? Or is it just?
It does come with instructions.
Oh, okay. All right. Because it seems like it's so detailed and I need, I'm just now starting out. So I'd say everything is like foreign to me. So I'm getting it best I can.
Yes, yes. And again, when we send out the email, we'll let you know where all the archived videos are that take you through all the pages and help you to understand. But we won't leave you behind in that.
Okay, thank you so much.
But again, I have to admit, now, as Pam said, even though you just have to know that we're still just really skimming the surface when it comes to what this device can do. But we could do a whole class on just the functional zone. And I think I have a class out there that I talk a little bit about the functional zone. But just with using the progressive insights in the functional zone, without the age of conflict, you can see where things um, could be stored or blocked. Um, say you have a scan that you're doing on yourself, and you have a body organ that just continuously is low or continuously high. You know, you can work the highs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just prefer to work more on the lows. But say you
Mm-hmm.
have a body organ that is continuously out of balance, and you keep doing things and it just does not shift, then you want to go with the functional zone and go deeper, and
Yes.
then go deeper. And that just reminded me I was supposed to do that. So let's look at that. How we
So
go
what
deeper.
do you mean by functional zone?
So let me stop that. And Nanette, if you give me permission, I will continue to run you. So we got 59. That's great right there. So let's go up here and let's pick the bladder. Okay. Make sure I don't have anything
Tonya,
else.
what do you mean by functional zone?
That's what I'm getting ready to show you.
Oh, okay.
So I made sure I don't have anything checked but the bladder. So I'm going to hit the black at the bottom where it says functional zone consideration. So it's going over.
Okay.
And then I think that was Cheryl that asked me, or Pam.
Yeah.
After we look at the
Okay.
functional zone, how do we go deeper? I almost forgot to answer that question. So now we hit the bladder and we got over here and we got biochemical and we got microorganism. So this may be where we were having that issue. So now I'm just going to hit microorganism. And when I hit that red, just anywhere in that block, that's what takes it over. And you see it saying analyzing the microorganism zone. And it takes us deeper. So that's how you go to the next level of going deeper to check something. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
I hope
Is
everyone
this all in the
clear.
manual, what those third level things are meaning?
No, but I will help you. But we'll, again, this is where you can request um, me to focus on something. I think we have particular class already up to the end of the month. I don't know that we went into September yet. Yes, we did. We went in. Yeah, no, we didn't. We didn't pick any classes for September, but I'm here for you. I'm here to support you. So if there's an area, let me know. Like I said, this was one that was pretty deep to go through, but I, we wanted to support Lynette, and hopefully we did that.
Tanya, this is Cheryl. I have a technical question. If you're working with someone that doesn't have internet, doesn't work with internet, and they're not physically available, can you do their name and the AEIOU and their affirmation on their behalf?
You can. Yes, ma'am. You can proxy for them.
Okay, that's the word. I couldn't remember what it was. Okay, and if you don't have a current picture, does that matter?
You can you can even proxy the picture, but you can, if you have a photo, an older photo, you can use that.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. I hope everyone is clear, and we can do a part 2 to this because it is a lot. But just know there's so much, so much to this. And even some of you may even take it further, like Pam was saying, when you think about that 82 and Annette said that was the age of her parents, it is so much, it goes so deep. So just know that I may be just touching the skim, to just skimming the surface of some things, because the device can help us to really pinpoint and be laser sharp with how we can release things. And by releasing them, we can bring wellness to the body and to the cells. Okay.
So Tonya, you're talking about proxying. How would you proxy? What would you say, or what would you do?
What you would say their name.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know, you would speak on their behalf. So you
Would I
can't.
introduce myself first and say, I'm so and doing it for this person?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I,
Yeah.
okay, thanks.
In cases of you can't get to the person, or you can't, like somebody said, you don't have the photo, or you can't get the information, you can't proxy.
Okay. Well, it's probably for somebody who's in coma or something also that,
Yeah.
you know, if you're working with, yeah. Okay.
Yes. All right. Please forgive me for going over again. But this was just a lot of information on this one. So we're going to start having some advanced classes, so that we'll know that when we go into the class that we're going deeper, and so we'll know that it's going to be a little more intense.
Yeah, and I
Tonya, you
apologize.
could go all day long, as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
I
Yes, it was
apologize.
very good.
Oh, did I lose? I heard something, but I didn't hear the end of it.
That me or?
Yes, ma'am. What was that you said at the end of that?
I just said I apologize for showing up later than I should have
Oh,
been
no,
here
you're
at
fine.
6:30 and
No,
okay.
yeah, you were fine. You were fine. So, everyone will get a free panel. Please, I know I see some new names that aren't familiar to me. But please make sure that we have your email, and we'll get that sent out. And we'll see everybody next week. Next week, we're building a panel, and I've got a couple nice suggestions. So if you have a suggestion of a library that you would like us to consider, please send it in. I've got quite a few already. So I'm excited to see what we create next week.
So Tonya, do you do Tuesday and Thursday every week, or this is just a special night?
No, Tuesday and Thursday every week.
Okay, because see, I didn't get the information for your Thursday one, and the only reason why I jumped in it is because Pam, we were talking, and then she told me about it.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Every Tuesday and every Thursday.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tonya.
Thank you, Tonya.
Tonya, can I just speak to you for a minute after this, after you leave the webinar?
Yes,
Can
ma'am.
I call you just, okay, just for a minute.
Okay.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Everyone have a wonderful night.
You too.
Thanks,
Good night.
Tonya.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.